Have any of you wondered what it would be like to have a visual disability and yet still be obsessed with video games and anime? Well, you've come to the right place, everyone. I hope you're ready because it's Matt time! Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Generation Millennium. I am your host, Jeffro Madness. And for today, I'll be giving you an introductory sequence considering, well, I want to tell you all about myself. So for the first part, yes, I am visually impaired, but I was not always that way. I was born in 1991, near the end of the 20th century, beginning the 21st coming up, which is how I got my namesake. I was born in one generation, got to see the end of a millennium, the start of another. And considering the big difference in literally everything from the 90s up until now, the 20s, so much has changed, which is why I want to make all these podcast episodes to share my experiences with everyone. So for the most part, I'll do my best to follow an upload schedule of sorts for each month. In the first week, I hope to release a Pokemon podcast episode. To week 2 will be focused around my Braille lessons because I am learning that at the moment. Week 3, I hope to discuss anime to some capacity. And week 4, I'll be discussing other video games that are not Pokemon related because for the most part, the majority of the content on this channel is going to be Pokemon related, about 85% or so, with the 5% going to Braille, anime, and other video games for a total of 15. And while those numbers may not be concrete, that's my rough estimate. So as I said earlier, I was born in 1991 to a somewhat middle-class family. We weren't exactly rich, but we weren't that bad off. But because of that, my parents wanted me to focus mostly on my education. Although, to be brutally honest, I am not the best student. I'm terrible at multitasking. Although if I focus on just one subject specifically, I tend to do very well, scoring usually in the B's or higher. But with multiple subjects, let's just say I cannot spread my attention that far, and because of that, I just tend to suffer if I try to do it in any capacity, whether it was back as a child in elementary school or now as a adult. Things haven't changed that much. But my education-wise, even a young kid on a PC, we cannot just focus solely on studying forever. So my parents, they were kind enough to let me play educational games, such as like the Treasure PC games series, if anyone have heard about them. Treasure Math Storm, Treasure Mountain, Treasure Cove, Treasure Galaxy. Those kinds of little games that challenge your intellect and whatnot. But also the Jumpstarts and Clue Finder series, those are also good for general education, for testing just how fast you can think on your feet or just your general knowledge at whatever pace you see fit. But also, I'm pretty sure some of you also heard of some more fun PC games like the Carmen Sandiego franchise. That one was always fun, trying to be a detective. But I was not always stuck on playing PC games the entire time because eventually, my father decided to bring home the classic Sony PlayStation. I forget where he got it from exactly, but I'm not complaining all that much because it introduced me to my first video game ever, Spyro 2: Ripto's Rage. And that may seem odd beginning with the sequel, but I assure you I did eventually get to play the original Spyro the Dragon as well as Spyro 3: Year of the Dragon. But along with the Sony PlayStation, I also got to play a whole variety of other games, such as Gex, Rayman, Croc, Mega Man, Tekken, and so much more. My mother in particular loved playing Tetris. But that's my introduction to video games, and while Spyro may have been what really got me into playing RPGs, You're probably wondering about the whole Pokemon content. It's like, how did I get into that? Well, to be really honest, I was fully against Pokemon when I first heard about it as a kid. I was a very skeptical child, and I was never one to care about being cool or fitting in with the crowd because back then, when I time Pokemon hit North America, it was everywhere. Like you go out to my elementary school playground, there were kids on their Game Boys battling one another with link cables or maybe trading with one another, strategy guides out, trading trivia, or even having the trading cards out, battling one another with the cards or trading their cards. I did not join in that crowd one iota. I was not that interested in fitting in. So then you're probably wondering, how did I get into it if I was that skeptical? Well, the short answer, boredom. The long answer, my parents liked to visit their relatives a lot when I was younger, especially since a lot of us lived here in California. But unfortunately, I lived in this, well, long story short, it was a long 1 hour drive to get to where my relatives lived. But the thing is, my mother's side of the family, all my relatives, even my cousins, they're all older than I was. So it's quite the generation gap. Like when I was at elementary school, most of them were already in either high school or early college. So not much to share of interest there. So I would just sit around, just left to my own devices. But one weekend, my aunt led me to my cousin's room, and apparently he had a bunch of VHS tapes of Pokemon. Yes, I know, the classic old video cassette tapes. So she popped it in. I had nothing else to do, so I sat down, watched the episode, and I was forever hooked. I still don't remember what got me into it. Maybe it was that classic video game opener of the anime episode. Maybe it was the cliche sadness scene at near the end when Pikachu saves Ash from her to Spearow. Maybe the technology, the fact you can catch wild animals in tiny prison balls. I'm not sure how I got hooked to it exactly, but bottom line is, I did. And my life was forever changed, and now I intend to do a lot of content based on that franchise. So I hope you all look forward to that. But that's just the anime side of things, and even though I watched Pokemon anime, I was not a big fan of anime in general because I didn't even know it was called anime back then. Like, I watched a lot of English adaptations on different channels. Like Pokemon was usually streamed on Kids WB, Digimon Adventures were streamed on Fox Kids, Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball Z were usually streamed on Cartoon Network, Adult Swim sometimes. So, yeah, I didn't even know that those were anime I was watching. I thought there was your other cartoons that was alongside other shows like Powerpuff Girls, Shaolin Showdown, Batman Beyond. I did not know the difference between them until I was around high school. I was really late to maturity party in that department, I guess. But I did get there in the end, and that's what matters. So if we were to discuss what I thought would be my top anime, of course, Pokemon would be at the number one spot. But going down the list, I am very, very big fan of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime franchise, as well as the trading card game, Cardcaptor Sakura, Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon, Ranma 1/2, Fishugi Yugi, Digimon Adventures, Rurouni Kenshin, and Neon Genesis Evangelion. I am big fans of these franchises, and so many more. Although, as of late, when it comes to anime, I have really gotten into isekai genre in the past decade or so. Like such as Log Horizon, Ascendance of a Bookworm, Overlord, Konosuba, Raid Zero, and even a more recent one as of this year, 2021. I've been killing slimes for 300 years and maxed out my level. Long title, but that's just one particular genre of anime that's really got into the long titles theme. But if you thought anime have long titles, don't even get me started on the light novels, because apparently Japan has a competition on light novels on who can create the longest and most absurd titles out there. But in addition to that, I also like the magical girl genre, please don't judge me, such as Sailor Moon, Cardcaptor Sakura, I mentioned those two, but also Magical Girl, Lyrical Nanoha, Puella, Magi, Madoka Magica, Futari wa Pretty Cure, and also adventure Like I mentioned, Dragon Ball Z, Cardcaptor Sakura, those also count as adventure. But also Pokemon counts as adventure, but also a bit of action. But also maybe it was like Fairy Tail and Naruto. Those are also very adventure and action packed. But as well as watching all these anime, I also love listening to their soundtracks and opening themes. Because, well, every single anime episode has an opening theme and ending theme added, so lots of songs to choose from, especially with the more seasons they get unlocked. And because of that also leads me to another genre known as the idol genre, in which they solely focus on the anime music portion of it, such as Love Live, School Idol Project, AKB0048, and Mermaid Melody, Peachy Peachy Pitch. I know that's kind of an odd name and rather obscure one. I'm not sure any of you have heard of that particular idol anime. And yeah, that's where a lot of my interest in terms of anime was drawn to. But speaking of music, I also not only do I listen to anime music, but also video games, because the Pokemon franchise would not be complete without its music, especially since I'm visually impaired, remember. I tend to focus more on the audio than I do on the visuals. And due to all that soundtracks, the lots of games I've played, it leads to me having hundreds of songs on my playlist on my phone. So if you say I am bored, it's essentially the end of the world because I have so much content to keep me busy. But flipping back to video games, as I mentioned, my first home console was the Sony PlayStation, handheld console for Pokemon being the Game Boy Color, not the standard Game Boy. I started with the Game Boy Color. But from the Sony PlayStation, I eventually got to the PlayStation 2, which led me to play even more games, such as the Dragon Ball Z Budokai franchise, Dance Dance Revolution, although I cheated playing that one because I used a controller to play it, not an actual dance pad. We used to have a dance pad, but that thing eventually got worn out and broken, so we focused on using the controllers. But even with a controller, that game on the hard difficulties, it is not easy. But other PlayStation 2 games, I also played Final Fantasy X for the Final Fantasy franchise there. I also played Spyro Enter the Dragonfly. That was not a fun experience, although that's more of a modern me talking, because I had the patience of a saint back when I was younger, because I actually played Spyro Enter the Dragonfly from start to finish, getting all the gems, getting all the dragonflies. If I try doing it now, I cannot stand it, but back then I had the patience span of a Buddhist monk saint. I could literally sit through those 5-minute long, just the transition screens, they just took a long time, and I cannot stand them now. But alongside the console, I eventually also got the Nintendo GameCube, in which I played Super Smash Bros. Melee, spin-off Pokemon games Colosseum and XD. I think I even tried Spyro Hero's Tale on the GameCube, but I didn't really beat it because I couldn't really get a handle on the in-game story mechanics. As well as I believe I played a Mega Man game on the GameCube, but mostly I got the GameCube for just Super Smash Bros. Melee and the 2 Pokemon spin-off games. That's about it. So, not the best investment of money, but I don't really have much complaints or regrets there. Because eventually I got the Nintendo Wii, which I originally got for Super Smash Bros. Brawl, as well as getting Pokemon Battle Revolution. I played my first Tales RPG game, Tales of Symphonia, Dawn of New World, on the Wii. And who could miss playing Wii Sports? That's always a fun time. Wii Sports, I just love playing bowling there. But in terms of handheld console, I mostly got the handheld Nintendo consoles just for Pokemon. I played Pokemon Blue version and Yellow version for the Game Boy. When the Game Boy Color generation came around, I got Pokemon Silver and Crystal. When the Game Boy Advance came out, I just got Pokemon Ruby at first. I got that as a Christmas gift, but eventually I expanded my horizons to get all the Pokemon games for every single console they came out on. So for the Game Boy Advance, it was Ruby, Sapphire, Fire Red, Leaf Green, Emerald. And then when Nintendo DS came out, I think I got that a little bit after the Wii. I'm not sure which one came out first, I forget. But of course I got Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, almost said Emerald again, Platinum, Heart Gold and Soul Silver for Nintendo DS, as well as for the next generation after that, Pokemon Black, White, White 2, Black 2, I don't know, I said those in reverse. And around that same time, for the home console, I did not get the Nintendo Wii U, but we did get a PlayStation 3, although I did not really play much on there. I mostly bought it just so I had something to connect to the PlayStation Network, so I could download a bunch of classic PlayStation games onto my PlayStation Portable. I got the version 2000 of that. So I could just download my old files for like Spyro the Dragon, Spyro 2, Final Fantasy 7 and 9. Just download those in the PlayStation Store. I had a device that allowed me to connect my old PlayStation memory cards and then transfer the data onto the PlayStation 3, and then I transferred that data into my PlayStation Portable. So I had access to my old files on there. It was fun, but also I had a habit of always replaying my old video games. Like I played Spyro 2 the most. I've lost track of how many times I played that one. Final Fantasy 7, I probably replayed it like 7 times throughout my entire lifetime. Final Fantasy 9, probably just as many times. But each time I replay these games, it's always a new experience because I am constantly learning more about the games. Like Final Fantasy 9, I have a Microsoft Word document in which I have cataloged virtually every little detail about the game, like where each item is located, the earliest point I can acquire certain equipment, when I can learn certain abilities, when certain side quests pop up. I just learn new things about these games each and every time, which is rather fitting because eventually the 3DS era came along, in which I, of course, got Pokemon there, Super Smash Bros. 4, but after the Nintendo 3DS era came Nintendo Switch, in which a lot of old games got ported over there, including, once again, Final Fantasy 7 and 9. They got ported to there as well. And that latest playthrough was my most potentially completed playthrough because I am a completionist. I have a compulsion to want to complete playing these games from start to finish, getting everything these games have to offer. So I just want to collect everything, every item, every weapon, every accessory, every key item, just everything these games have to offer. I just want to complete them 100%. Which also translates to Pokemon, in which I also want to collect everything there, all items, all berries, every type of Pokeball, and of course, capturing every single Pokemon. Which is also a bit of a nightmare because that also means including getting all the shiny Pokemon, which I am currently doing a challenge on myself on the latest games, Pokemon Sword and Shield on Nintendo Switch, trying to catch every Pokemon in a Beast Ball shiny from raid dens. I think you can imagine the implications of just how insanely hard that is. And while I'm about halfway done with that, keyword there is about halfway done. And the game's been out for almost 3 years now, so you can imagine why that's taken a while. But yeah, in terms of this channel, I just mostly intend to release more Pokemon content and guide-throughs because Pokemon Sword and Shield is currently out with lots of different things to discuss for breeding, EV training, IVs, raid dens, the expansion passes. It's just so much, especially with Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl coming out in a couple months after the recording of this introductory podcast. But I should also mention something else. I got social medias coming out. I intend to eventually stream on Twitch, but I will not be streaming playthroughs, sorry to say, because, as I mentioned, I'm visually impaired. And unless you wish to see me bumping into walls about half the time, I do not wish to give you such a horrible experience of having to be, well, just seeing me bump into a wall most of the time. But I will be streaming giveaways for the most part, which leads me to my Discord channel. I have set up a Discord channel for the Generation Millennium, and I hope to invite as many of you there because I wish to give you the Pokemon Knife, Cotton Beast Balls, because what makes these Pokemon special is that because I'm playing this on the file with only one gym badge and how Sword and Shield is set up, all these Pokemon will be set to being level 25 or less. And because of that, this means you can possibly have a Charizard, or maybe a Tyranitar, or maybe some other Pokemon besides legendaries, that is. There'll be a level 25, which is not the level they're supposed to be at, so that makes them more special, besides being caught in the Beast Ball and being shiny, of course. So I wish to give out these Pokemon to you in my giveaway channel on my Discord server, but also my Discord server has many other features as well besides just the giveaways. You can go there, trade with one another, and I also like to create my own Pokemon teams from time to time, in which I will be uploading rental teams to my server, so you can download those rental teams and battle each other with those if you're interested. That's always a fun time. But, well, that's all I can really say in terms of intro. So if you've all stuck around until the very end of this podcast, I'd like to thank you for your time. And well, if you remember my intro, I hope you all stay nice and healthy because it's mat time out there. I hope you all have a nice day, and I will see you all next time.